Jordyn Wieber has it, leading the field heading into tonight when she could become champion of the United States for the first time. But guess what? She is not the one everyone is talking about. The road to Olympic history in London begins tonight. For Shawn Johnson, Chellsie Memmel, and Alicia Sacramone, it means trying to earn a do-over. It's been 3 years since the Beijing Olympics, and for Alicia Sacramone, the memory weighs heavily.
On the balance beam, that's where everything went wrong. The Chinese and the U.S. were battling neck and neck. She cost the team the gold medal.
I think pissed off is an understatement. I was just so mad at myself because I knew I could do better than that.
Alicia walked away from gymnastics. Now she walks back. For Chellsie Memmel, her Olympic dreams were over before they could even begin. The team depended on her for all 4 events, but 2 days after arriving, she suffered a broken ankle. Competing on bars was all she could manage. At 20, she said the Beijing Olympics would be her last. Things have changed.
I wasn't able to contribute as much as I wanted. That was really disappointing to me. So I decided to just take a break.
In Beijing, the gold medal seemed like destiny for Shawn Johnson. But in the end, the only gold around her neck was earned on the balance beam.
I had trained my whole life for the all-around. I wanted it quite a bit. It's what I lived for.
She will never say her performance in Beijing was a disappointment, but it wasn't the result she had dreamed of. They each had to leave the sport to realize just how much they truly loved it. But love can only carry you so far. Now they're all back, and that is never easy. There are others who believe that that was their time and that this is theirs. Tonight, a national champion is crowned, and London becomes one step closer. Sports presents live coverage of the 2011 Women's Visa Championships. St. Paul, Minnesota could tonight be comeback city as we welcome you to the home of the NHL's Minnesota Wild, the XL Center in downtown St. Paul, the capital of the state. Al Trowig along with Tim Daggett, Elfie Schlegel, and Andrea Joyce. And Tim, let's start with Shawn Johnson. What's on the line for her tonight, and what have you seen so far?
Well, a heck of a lot. You know, the qualifying meet for these national championships was a competition called the CoverGirl Classic, and she actually looked very nervy there. She admitted that she was really, at times, scared, but she has looked much better. Day 1 was pretty darn good, and today, so far in the warm-ups, she has looked a lot like the old tough Shawn Johnson.
Competing on a surgically repaired knee. Now, Elfie, what about Alicia Sacramone?
Well, it's legit, that's for sure. And Alicia's comeback started well over a year ago. She said she really needed that time. She couldn't even imagine coming back this year. She needed the full 2 years. She has proven herself. Her gymnastics is big, and I'll tell you what, she is in the best shape ever.
How important is the Olympics to her? It's tattooed on the back of her neck. Then you have Chellsie Memmel, the only one of the 3 that's competing in all 4 events.
And, you know, her comeback, you know, it was so different than Shawn Johnson. She had no announcement, no media days. It was all quiet. She said, all I need is to be in the gym and to get this job done.
Good, hold it!
At the top of the board, though, we said it's 16-year-old Jordyn Wieber from Michigan, the daughter of 2 very athletic parents, and she's got a very significant 1.85 lead over Massachusetts native Alexandra Raisman. And then there's Chellsie Memmel flirting with the podium, perhaps 2.5 back. Rebecca Bross, the defending national champion, had some stumbles on the balance beam that we'll get a chance to recap in a moment. But we're going to start things off by talking about Jordyn Wieber, who amazingly, at the age of 16, has already won the most prestigious American international event, the American Cup, twice.
Yeah, the last one, she actually defeated the reigning world champion, Mustafina, from Russia. So this kid has some credentials. She won that meet the first time when she was just 13 years old as a junior.
as far as the Olympics go, Elfie, and that's everything in this world. She's at a pretty good age for that.
Absolutely. And Jordyn, you have to think she's a shoo-in, but, you know, we're still a year out to the Olympic Games, and there's a lot of gymnastics down the road, but this is one young lady who could very well be the leader of that team.
So a lot of stories here. How they intersect is anyone's guess, but the first major thing is going to come out of this competition, and that will be a selection of the team that will represent the United States in October at the World Championships in Tokyo.
And, you know, really, for that selection, unless Jordyn Wieber has an injury, a sickness, that she's going to be on that team. There's no question about it. She is strong on all of the events, all 4 of them, and really has, in my opinion, she's already earned that. As long as things don't go wrong, she's not just playing for an airline ticket. She's, in my opinion, playing for a world championship all-around medal.
And she was the absolute best on this apparatus on night 1.
That was a great start.
Fantastic.
For Jordyn Wieber. Wow.
She actually looked like she was enjoying herself.
Yeah, she did.
That's the nice part about it. She has an amazing look on her face. Not only the difficulty, it's there, but she just looks like she's having a great time. She's into the exercise.
Coach, we just saw right there. John Geddard said that she is in tremendous shape. She said she looks like a piece of chiseled steel.
From Needham, Massachusetts, 17-year-old Alexandra Raisman. She's in 2nd place right now. She just saw that happen right in front of her. She's just a few feet away at the takeoff for the vault.
And Allie's a rock. What she does so well is she is consistent. Marta loves that quality about her.
And that was great. That was great. She's actually capable of doing a harder vault, adding a half twist to it, but that's about as clean a vault as you can see, and a great landing on it.
And I think the decision was made back on night 1. They didn't want to risk any injury. She had been having a little bit of a problem on the landing, and they just decided, hey, let's get through this one. Keep it safe.
Wieber's floor exercise at 15.0, and so far it's only 2 routines, but what a difference from night 1.
Unbelievable. Yeah, night 1, it was all over the place, very messy, lots and lots of falls. Probably the worst Visa Championships I've ever seen, and so far, 2 up and out of the blocks. Great routines.
Check in on the uneven bars, and here's a unique young lady. She's 23, one of UCLA's best. And she's trying to really gain her first major spot for international exposure. Anna Lee.
And she has a very good shot, and it is really 100% about this piece of apparatus. Doesn't matter what else she does. She's only going to do the balance beam, but she earns a ticket to the world because she is so great on the uneven bars. Beautiful transition.
And this is one of the events where the United States is a little bit weak.
And that is a very big error. And what it's going to come into play here is endurance, because her routine is so long. And now she's added a few different skills.
Fought through.
Well, that was good. That was really good, but it wasn't great. I think she could have done herself a real solid if she was able to go 2 in a row, night 1 and night 2 on bars.
Now Rebecca Bras from the same gym in Plano, Texas that gave us the last 2 Olympic gold medalists, but Rebecca Bras, the reigning national champion, had some problems on night 1.
Yeah, actually 2 problems. That was the first one, totally unexpected. And right here on the dismount.
That one wasn't unexpected, though. We've been here watching her all week long in St. Paul, and she has really had a tough time with that. Just a couple moments ago, though, she looked good on the dismount. We did see her fall on one of her skills in the timed warm-up just moments ago.
Well, she's going to leap her way right up on the balance beam and get things started right off the top. Big test coming up. First major skill.
And this is where she fell in the warm-ups, right here. Oh, that right foot was 7/8 off the balance beam.
I think it's important to note that Rebecca has not competed in a competition since last year's World Championships.
And you know, she had a broken bone in her foot at those World Championships. She had that the entire time. And she came home with 4 world medals. This is about as tough of a kid as you're ever going to see. This has been tricky all week for her as well. Dead on.
She is on, you know, the day after the first night of competition, after those falls, she was back in the gym training full sets on this apparatus, and she didn't miss. It's paying off.
This has been the challenge all week.
Oh, and it continues to be.
Oh, but you know what? That one was better. Oh, she had a little bit more height. She kind of kicked out her body a little bit sooner on that. And
blind landing. It's a tough landing.
What she's been doing all week long is landing in these big, deep squats, and they're scary. And that one, she kind of went the other way. Coach Larry Lukin, of course, coach and dad of Olympic all-around champion Nastia Lukin.
And you know, Rebecca is really tough on herself.
Watch her right foot. Look at that. It's almost completely off the beam.
It's like, no way, not tonight.
That's called strong toes.
And Tim, how many of these have we watched her do all week long?
Look at the landing, though. She really just locks those legs out when she lands, and it pushes her hips backwards, and that's disappointing.
So damage control again for Rebecca Bras. Ali Raisman got a 15.1 for her vault. Amelie way down to 14.4. Now that's not going to get it done. Here's McKayla Maroney, who lives in beautiful Laguna Niguel, California. Making the World Championship team would be a career first and a huge deal.
And where she makes this team is on this event right here. Her vault, we just saw Ali Raisman do a vault that has a maximum score of a 15.8. Now everybody all over the world is chasing what they call the Amanar after a great Romanian gymnast, and that vault has a maximum score of 16.5. Most teams in the world don't even have one athlete that are capable of doing it. This young lady, not just capable of doing that vault, but in my opinion, I've never seen anybody do it better than she does.
I was going to say Alicia Mustafina from Russia, who won the World Championships last year, set the stage. That's the vault she's performing.
Gosh, she does it better, though.
Absolutely. I have never seen such great consistency like from her.
Rebecca Bras, 14.35. Now the podium's in jeopardy.
What she does so well is she makes perfect contact with the table, and she rebounds off of it. fantastic. Coach Arthur Akopian, one of the greatest vaulters of all time, a world champion himself for the Soviet Union. He's got to say, I used to be able to do that.
But it's the form, the execution. Look how straight she is. Look how clean this vault is. And the most important thing, we always talk about the landing. That's a huge vault.
Yeah, there is nobody in the world right now that does that vault. Just watch her legs. See them pace together. It gets a little bit messy when everybody else is doing this, but not this one. And look at that. Right on that line is exactly where she wants to be.
To the uneven bars, and this we know, the Caquatto gymnastics DNA is powerful stuff. As Bridgette follows in her sister Mackenzie's career. Mackenzie was with the U.S. World Championship team last year that won silver. She goes to Florida. Bridgette wants to be on the World Championship team, and guess what?
She wants to go to Florida.
Also.
Well, she has a huge bar set, one of the top start values in this competition. 3 big release skills we're looking for.
Very nice. She's great, but she battles. And oh, wow.
Oh,
she doesn't have her hand. Her grip was caught on the bar.
This bar routine is so fantastic, but she cannot put it together.
This is a bit of a disaster here. Very close on that release. What happened was the bottom of her grip, not even on her hand, but on her wrist, was caught on the bar.
Such a shame, isn't it?
Had to take an extra swing, and then after that, she does a couple extra things that were not in the plan.
7th coming in. That's not going to help that, but they are not going to throw a lot of 16s around tonight. McKayla Maroney, 16.
Well deserved.
That is gigantic.
The way the draw has been set up, we still haven't seen Alicia Sacramone. We haven't seen Shawn Johnson. We haven't seen Chellsie Memmel. That all changes next when we come back live to St. Paul, Minnesota and the Visa Championships. Back live in St. Paul, Minnesota at the Xcel Energy Center. We're about to see Alicia Sacramone, then Chellsie Memmel, then Shawn Johnson. And Alicia Sacramone's got 2 vaults up her sleeve today, so to speak.
The reason that Alicia is doing 2 vaults is because at a major championships like a world or an Olympic Games, you have to show both of those vaults. As you see the Olympic rings, to win an Olympic medal on vaulting, you have to do 2 vaults, and they have to be from different families. That means they have to be different. One of them, she's going to do what's called a round off onto the board. That'll be the second one. And the first one, she'll jump over facing forwards.
And she is all about power.
That's a great vault. It's a great vault, and you know what? That looked closer to me to a stick. It just really looked like she was going to get that one and then had to take that step back.
And she is not going to compete on the uneven bars. Where then does she fit in the USA plans going forward?
Oh, she fits in extremely well because she just won the Worlds on vaulting, so she's a huge asset there. She's also a veteran of the sport. Yeah, she had some struggles at the Olympic Games, but a year before, in 2007, she was actually the person that rallied the troops going into the last event the Chinese had done floor exercise. And she got the group together and said, we can do this. And they ended up on top.
And since the Classic, Alicia has added floor exercise. She says, I'm just going to better my chances having 3 events. Marta knows she can rely on me. Anytime I get the call, I'm ready to go.
First vault, 15.8. That's very, very good. She's got a very cool personality. If you're having a party, she probably gets invited.
You got to put her vault number up there.
She had to do it.
A very, very good score.
And 9.5 for the execution. That's key. If she can stick it, that'll go up.
So this one is that half turn onto the board, Yurchenko style. Oh! That was a little bit low for her. Typically does that vault with a surplus of power. A little bit under-rotated on that. Coach Mihai Bridgette goes over some of the finer details, but just doesn't get as big of a block or a jump off of her arms right there. And I really think she was trying to stick these vaults. She's usually over on both of them and trying to come in with a better body position and not take that step. That's really the only thing that Alicia needs to get a little bit more consistent on.
And of course, she'll incur some deductions, stepping over the line, her chest being low to the ground, but she has the vaults.
And you know, the important thing is the vault that will get her on the team is different than the vault that'll win her a medal. The vault that gets her on the team is the first vault. They're not even going to look at that one to get her on the team.
So that's our look at Alicia Sacramone. In a few minutes, we will see Shawn Johnson. She's coming back from a knee that included ACL reconstruction. Those are dirty words for any athlete. Sacramone's second vault was a 14.4. And just like Alicia Sacramone, Chellsie Memmel's been on the scene for more than a decade. Still coached by her dad. Remember when she did that last event in Beijing? We all said that's it. That's what she said.
Well, that's what she said too. You know,
been away from competition for 3 years. 3 years. She put on a clinic the other day. She has mental toughness like no other. It's just absolutely incredible because you cannot teach someone to compete the way that Chellsie Memmel competes.
All you need to know is she gave what she could in those Olympic Games on a broken foot.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to say it all day long. She is about as tough as you can get, and she's not just doing 2 routines. She is doing the all-around. She came into this competition in 3rd place in the all-around.
And she's not even at her best yet. She still has plenty to give, plenty to add. She's taking it very slowly. She is not rushing the process. She said, it's only 2011. I have all next year. I have to be smart about it.
She said some bad Olympic luck with those injuries.
Yeah, about as bad as it can get. She was a world champion when she was 15 years old on the uneven bars in 2003. Had a leg injury, took her out of 2004, and then does make the Olympic team in 2008. And as we said, a couple days before the event starts, she breaks a bone in her foot again.
She won this event on night 1, scored a 15.25. When I say won, she was the top scorer. A lot of intricate skills in this exercise.
And the first big one comes here, and it's a combination. She'll do a front flip with a half and then keep going.
Big time. Takes her time.
Yeah, she's calm. She's calm, and she doesn't ever panic.
Thoughtful, exact.
Big one right here. Arabian front.
Wow. This is a skill coming up that she's known for. Very risky. An illusion turn. A little bit of a check. Her connections are all there. One last piece of gymnastics, her dismount. Consistency, wow. She's a tough, tough athlete.
Got in, Coach Andy Memmel. About as nice a guy as you'll ever meet. But I'll tell you, he himself marvels at Chellsie and her ability to focus and concentrate and not block everything else out.
Shawn Johnson on the vault.
This was one of the areas where Shawn commented after the first day of competition. She was absolutely thrilled that she performed this vault and stood it up, did it as well as she did.
See that left knee taped. Really, where Shawn has the biggest trouble is on her run. Sometimes she doesn't look like she is able to generate enough speed. But this is better than night one.
She is just getting better and better with every workout competition.
Actually twisted a little bit early off the table night one. This was a little bit better. She was able to block her body up in the air. Ends up taking a pretty large step, but I like that one a lot better.
Ultimately, we all have to answer the question, how old is too old? For most, it's 65. Maybe if you're a baseball player, 35. Here, 21, 22, 19. It's an unnaturally young age to have to answer that question, but that's what's happening.
Now, this vault is valued out of 5.8, considerably lower than what we'll see from Jordyn Wieber. A little bit offside.
She travels to the side. That'll be only a 1/10 of a point. If she landed on the other side of that white line, it would have been a more severe deduction.
Definitely a spring to the step of Shawn Johnson. We've concluded the first rotation. We'll check the standings after this, live in St. Paul.